Okay guys, I'm going to do a quick demo of my retouching process. I've got a shoot that I did a couple days ago with a beautiful model named Stefanie, and this is for a client that I've got to rush it out and get it turned into them. So I'm going to pick an image here that we can retouch. Just go into my, these are saved as DNGs. Originally they were Nikon RAW. That looks like a good one. And that's actually pretty flat, but I think I want to start with something fairly flat this time. I usually like more contrasty stuff, but in this case for this client, I'll make it a little flatter. I like to get my exposure fairly close, because once you move out of the raw space, you can't do as much changes. Yeah, that looks good. A lot of this is just trial and error for me. Alright, so we'll load it up into Photoshop. Basically that looks good. First thing I always do is make a new layer so I have the original background layer as a reference. Plus if I screw up later I can always come back to that. So I'll go ahead and in this case I'm going to take out all of her moles and skin marks, blemishes. I'm going to leave all of her tattoos. You got to be careful when you're getting close to something like that finger, because you can pull in some of the colors from the area you're close to if you have a high contrasty area that you're trying to clean right next to. I'm using the clone tool for those closer areas. Oh, see there was just too much difference in the cloning area. Select something a little closer. Use the Band-Aid tool again. There we go. I just kind of work on different parts of the image. Stay in the same area for a little while at a time. I'll come up into her face. Some things I'll partially fix like that, but I'll be aware that it still needs some more work and I'll come back to it. That's probably the case right here as well, next to her nose. Although that's pretty good, that's close. Needs to be lightened up a little bit though. Yeah, forehead's always an area that needs a little work. Little light spots in her hair. The image is actually too flat for me right now. I'd like to see some more darkness in her hair, but we'll come back in and do that, add some detail later. We'll leave her nose ring since that's her style. I do a fairly extreme amount of retouching on these images, but where you get into trouble is when you do an extreme amount of Photoshop that looks like Photoshop. Taking out blemishes, always important to save it. Taking out blemishes that people don't know existed is different than smoothing all the skin out and making her look plasticky, which we'll never do. Alright, move around here a little bit. Changing my cloning opacity now. And we're going to take out some of this hair that's flyaway stuff. Since I've created a new layer, I can always go in and undo little pieces that I think I went too far. Okay, I'm going to do exactly that with the eraser tool now. Take back some of it. It's important to zoom back out and take in the image as a whole, because the final viewer is never going to see the close-up of just the hair. They're going to see the whole image. So something that might not look good up close looks perfectly fine when you're looking at the whole image. Go ahead and merge those layers. Now I can do the comparison there. Okay, I just went into Color Effects Pro now, and this is a skin softening tool. Again, you can go way overboard with this. Like the default presets are way too strong, but you can bring the opacity way down. I usually go to about 30%, and that will really soften the skin without making it look too plasticky. In this case, I went to 41%. That's in Color Effects Pro 4, Dynamic Skin Softener. Now after I do this, the first result's always still too plasticky for me. You can see her face looks too soft. You don't notice it so much though in her arms or her hips or her breasts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the erasing tool here and change my opacity a little bit and just bring down some of that, because all the dynamic softening is in one layer. So I can just bring down, take out some of that. You especially want to go around areas like her mouth and her teeth and her eyes to get the detail back in some of those sharp areas. See, now we got some skin texture back in there, and it's not all plasticky, but it's still kind of soft. Alright, we're going to go back to this area now. Got a nice neutral skin tone. Fill that in. All right, and then we will play with the fill on the layer. Bring it way down, and then we can go to the layer properties and see what options we have here. Color looks pretty good. Starting spot. And we'll go ahead and with an eraser now and clean up around that. We're really just trying to get that one line under her eye. Again, I'm going to grab the last little batch of stuff I did and merge those layers. Call that merge 3. It's an additive process. You don't always nail it 100% the first time, but you get it better, and you keep getting it better. We're just cloning in some different stuff now. Cloning in some more skin color from her cheek, and then bring it back a little bit, what I just did, because it's a little bit overkill. That's nice. I'm noticing now, after I clean that up, that her eyes are really dark too, so that's something I've got to tackle here shortly. I'm going to lighten those. To start, I'm going to enhance this green now. Find a nice natural hazel color. There we go. There's a lot of ways to do the eyes. In fact, I do them different ways often. Usually I'll cover the whole eye in one punch like this, but sometimes I'll go in and just hand paint in all around. This is kind of the easy way to do it. Trying my different types of layers here. There you go. Well, that looks nice. Let's go with the purple eyes. You can see that there's green spill everywhere, so I'm going to have to go in with an eraser and just kind of clean up the center and up above, and also around the white areas of her eye. It's going to be pretty small on the screen, so you don't have to go totally crazy. I'm not doing a billboard here. I'm just going to re-merge that last group of things. All right. Getting there. Go ahead and lighten her breast a little bit. That's too much, but I'll adjust that. It's a separate layer. You can just kind of bring it into where it looks good. She's got a nipple poking out there, but we all have nipples, right? I went a little too far with the lightness, kind of leaked around her as well, so I'm just doing comparison there and erasing the parts of the layer that I lightened that are not her breast, so that we don't have like a glow around there. We don't want that. Looks good. Opacity a little bit on that. Okay, her eyes are still real dark in that area, so I'm just going to kind of lighten up that whole area. All right, Now we're going into the Knit Collection Vivisa, which I'm going to use to enhance the structure a little bit. And the byproduct of this is that it'll make her skin look really grainy, which I don't want, but it enhances the texture of her hair a lot, and also kind of gives us a little bit more detail in the couch, which is fine. I'm also going to darken her a little bit because I'm going to go back and erase all the areas where her skin is and just leave the hair in the background. Alright, obviously the image is too dark now, but the hair looks good. So get the eraser tool. I'll go to 100% because I want to fully erase everything that's on the skin. There we go. There's lots of different ways I could have made a mask. I could have selected certain areas and only done those, but for me this is just the easiest way. Just apply the whole thing and then take it off where I don't want it. You can be as careful as you want in this process, or as sloppy as you want. I'm fairly sloppy here because this is never going to be blown up that big. I went a little too far there. There we go. And I just create a new layer, and I like to do this. I'm just going to fill this layer with gray, and I put it right behind the layer I'm working on. That way I can see any areas that I missed when I'm erasing. So that's the top layer is her hair and her feet and everything, and then the middle layer I just added is all the gray, so I can erase down to that. So obviously I need to still erase her hand and her shoulder. I'll take those out. So that way none of her skin tone is in the Vivesa layer. So it's basically reverting back to the original skin before I applied that effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and just darken a little bit of her hair. I'm slightly erasing some of her stockings because I want the original to come back in a little bit more. Since I'm on the perimeters here, I'm using a 40/40 opacity and flow. Saving. Now I'll merge the last little group of things I did and save that as a new layer. Before and after. Take down about 30% of what I did. Quick remerge. Sharpen her eyes a little bit. Eyes can never be too sharp. I shot this with a Nikon 300mm 2.8, which is a pretty sharp lens, but I did shoot it wide open to get that compression of the depth of field. So, and I was across the room, so you can't be too sharp. All right, I just rounded the highlights on her eyes a little bit. Just makes them sparkle a little bit more. And just sharpening around her nostrils and her eyebrows. Throwing a little sharpness into their hair as well. She's really coming to life. Remerging once again. There's before and after. Before and after. Before and after. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to go into Analog Effects Pro. I use this for enhancing the bokeh if I want to focus in on one particular part of the image. So let's go to the bokeh filter. You see here you can kind of create like an artificial fall off. And I really want to get rid of some of that in focus front of the couch stuff. That's my main concern. That's pretty good. So you can see that the fully in focus legs and front edge of the couch are now blurry, which is nice. And you can go in and like take out some the fingers or whatnot, like your fingertips got blurry as well. Pretty big hand on this, but that's all right because we got nice soft background already in the back, in the very background, the back couch. And we'll go to a little smaller brush for a lighter touch. Those fingers sharp. It's looking pretty nice. You can kind of see that double line still at her arm. It needs to be taken out. I'm just going to fix that. The brush size, make it smaller. There we go. That takes that right out. Another advantage of doing the merged layers is that you end up with a top layer that has everything in it. And sometimes when you apply some of these effects, like the bokeh effect, it only applies that effect to the top layer. So if you did the eye color, for instance, and then put the bokeh effect in, it would only put a bokeh effect on her eyes. So by combining all the layers into a merged layer, you're applying the effect to the entire image, which usually is what you want to do. Just going to extend this edge here because that caught my eye. And I'm also going to fix that seam on the couch on the middle there, middle right. Just make it a little less noticeable. Not really an error, but it's just, it catches your eye. Anything that catches my eye, don't necessarily want to see it. There, that's much easier. It just looks better. And there we have it. Make sure it's saved. Stefanie looks beautiful. I think it still looks quite natural. Everything's just enhanced a little bit. And now we've got a cover photo. Save the new merged layer. There's the final. There's before and after. Before and after. I think it just pops a bit more now. Hopefully that wasn't too tedious for you. I'm pretty new at doing these lessons. In fact, I'm brand new at them. Leave any comments below, and if you enjoyed this, please like it. It helps a lot. Thank you.